Tomas Mauricio. Come on down. Tyler Kistner. Come on down. David Romero. Come on down. Keith L. Simpson. Come on down. You're the first 4 contestants on the BS and Beer is ready.
Hey! Gotta love that podcast show. Hey! Yeah, I love that podcast show. Oh, BS and Beer is the place to go to get all the Saints news. Hell yeah! Podcast show. Hey! Gotta love that podcast show. Hey! Yeah, I love your podcast show.
Places, everyone. Stand by for BS and Beer. You know what we're waiting for. That's what we're waiting for. We're back. Entire off season. I know you missed us, but it's the BS and Beer podcast crew. It's Dave Romero. It's Heath Elson, Tomas Mauricio, and for the first time, 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. We got Tyler Kistner working the board for us, making sure everything goes smooth. So don't feel any pressure over there, Tyler.
Oh, none at all. None at
But
all.
from Ruston to Monroe, Farmerville to Jonesboro, we back on track. We got the demographics back where it needs to be.
Yep.
Sit back and relax because we're about to do the SEC Sports Pub and 97.7 Sports Talk Radio, BS and Beer style. Man, I tell you, it's exciting. We're ready to go. We back on the radio. This is where we belong, man. You can tell the look, I've got the goosebumps, man.
I
know
didn't even sleep last night.
You know, I know you didn't. And then for a whole different reasons.
Yeah.
But I know the people, if word leaked out on the streets that we were back, I know that there are people standing by their radios right now and they turning it up and they just, like, when is it going to be on? And you know how it is? Kind of like when we watch the game on the
Times
internet.
Square is full right now.
On the internet, you know how it said your game will be shortly, and we're like, man, it's 7 minutes, it's 3 minutes after the game.
Yeah.
We start getting nervous.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I bet that's how the folks over in Ruston, Monroe, in northern Louisiana, they were getting nervous. They're like, man,
Where are they?
the
Where
commercial's
are they?
coming on. Are you sure? They're calling it the station.
Yeah.
It's
You
fever
can feel
pitch.
attention.
You can feel it. You can feel it. But don't worry. We're
No
back.
worries.
And listen, we're back, and we're going to be on the rest of the season unless we do something silly, which is entirely possible.
Yeah.
Because for the life of me, I still can't why they allow us to come on here, and who knows what could happen, especially with Tomas.
What?
Anything could be said. Things can be
Well,
violated
see, now,
rules.
I have been so good. I haven't had a rant in a long time. I'm wired for sound.
Are you ready, Rob?
I'm ready for a rant, buddy.
For
Just,
Tom.
it's something that I know that the people listening out there are saying, wow, I can't wait for that first
Well, that's
rant.
just part of the package.
Right. You know, when Tomas's face gets all, and now you'll be able to see it on the VCAP.
Oh, that's right.
They
That's
don't
right.
know about that.
No. Okay, now I got to remember how to tell them how to watch it. If you want to actually watch us, you can go to YouTube. And it's BSN Beer.
That's correct. The letter
Media.
N.
And if you look it up, Saints, BSN Beer, it's going to come
It'll
up.
come
You
up.
can actually watch the show and
Subscribe.
subscribe to it. Give us that support. And the thing about it is you can actually see how handsome Tomas and Heath really are and Tyler. And you know what? Listen, I have a face for radio. That's why, so I don't hear any criticism. I don't hear any criticism.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, action-packed show. Since we're 2 games into the season,
Preseason.
into the preseason.
Yeah.
Sorry, thank you.
Right.
We have a game to talk about last week.
Yep.
I tell you, I would be okay.
Do we?
I'd be okay if we just didn't talk about it at
Yeah.
all, but I think it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Because we're going to recap.
Coming up after the break, we'll analyze the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah,
I
right,
think
right.
they're the only one that showed up.
Yeah, they showed up. They showed up. And actually, if you look past some of the stuff, I think we'll find it wasn't as bad as it seemed. I still think that they should take that Drew Brees guy and give him a shot. Because after what I saw at those
I know.
quarterbacks,
I know.
they should give Drew a shot. I mean, I know he's long in the tooth. I know that he hasn't gotten a snap the entire season. I think they phasing him out.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't
Maybe.
know. He'll get a chance to trade in that clipboard one day. If
Yeah,
he just
one day.
Keeps
Maybe
his
if
nose
he-
to the grindstone.
That's right. He got to keep working at. They got to
Yeah,
see,
yeah.
kind of like the coaches
Well,
say,
I think
the
he's
work
looking
ethic.
at the Canadian League at this point because he's reading the writing on the wall.
Manziel. I think that there might be a spot for Breeze if Manziel keeps playing
There you go.
poorly.
There you go.
So what is it? The Atari
Yeah, he got traded.
Tiger Cats?
No. He's not a Tiger Hats.
I'm just naming. That's the only name I know.
No.
The
He
Hamilton Tiger.
Oh,
that's
okay.
Hamilton.
Ontario
He got traded, though.
Tigers.
He wasn't with Hamilton either.
No.
but he's
No.
he's on
We
some
don't know where he's at.
Saskatchewan team.
The further
The
we
Rough
get away,
Riders.
I think that's what it is.
the further we get away from Louisiana as the circle grows, the less my knowledge decreases significantly. Once you cross the border, it's it's the wild wild west.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, so then we have a game that we need to talk about, a preview. The Saints are actually practicing
Yep.
with the San Diego Chargers this
Nope.
week.
Sorry. Los Angeles
Oh,
Chargers.
my bad. You see, I told you. Now you're crossing all the way to the other side of the country.
Yeah.
Time
But you
zones.
lived out there for a while.
I did live out
The
there for a while.
preseason
there
for
a
all
lot.
of us.
You did. You spent a lot of time out there too,
Well,
didn't you?
yeah, right.
Yeah, getting all bougie, going out there, getting that fancy wine.
Yeah, you know.
Well, okay. Okay.
That's when I had money.
So, well, that's
Now
ooh.
I'm back to Andy Green.
Now we're begging for Bitcoin, right?
No more begging.
No,
I'm in the process of this. I'm trying to decide which wallet is the best kind of wallet.
I get the
See,
leather
I-
one with the cowboy on it that's imprinted
Yeah. Well,
on a horse.
you like that
Yeah.
Wyoming?
Yeah, that
cowboy,
one,
huh?
that one. And you get a
Yeah.
matching belt buckle.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the white stitching around the
Yeah,
edges.
exactly.
And the big
Yeah,
you know the one I'm
yeah, I
talking
know the
about.
one.
Yes.
Yeah. No. But there are several different types of Bitcoin wallets.
Velcro.
Velcro?
Yeah.
Velcro.
Remember the 80s? Yeah, there you
we used
go.
to have that.
Velcro,
yeah.
Oh man,
But,
get some
uh,
matching shoes.
So, and again, for those of you who are, you're
Yeah.
just starting the show
Kangaroos.
for this season, so you're not familiar that we've been talking about
Oh,
during the
off-season.
off-season,
Yeah.
we've been talking about Bitcoins.
Yeah.
Because, a lot of people, they don't understand that it costs money to produce
oh
this
yeah,
show.
this ain't free.
Yeah, and we've been doing it just out of the love that we have.
An affection.
But at some point, we're like, dude, who's paying for the gas?
That's right.
And we have,
I mean, don't get me wrong. All the donations to Don Bobo all season long. Hold up, let me get
Well, you gotta
let me
get
get the
the-
calculator out.
hold on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Well,
not
where's the Don
zero. It's
Bobo
exactly zero.
music?
But Don Bobo, we
Don't
got.
forget now,
Well,
yeah.
listen,
What happened to Don Bobo?
All the stuff, all the money, everything
See, he's
that
out of shape now. You see,
Yeah,
he can't,
I'm looking
he can't
for it
remember
at-
where. Need my glasses so you can see where it is.
it's got to be.
It's a
There it is.
preseason for all of us.
There we go. All right.
Now
So-
I can go to my regular voicing. Don Bobo.
Don Bobo.
All right, now we're good.
Send your tides in, and all kind of stuff happens. Guys don't get injured. We win games. Look what happened last
But
year.
We don't want high tides or low tides. Okay, so don't send those in.
Listen, last year you can make jokes, but last year the Saints were 0-2 when we introduced Don Bobo, and we went on a run. We went on a run.
So now we've got Bobo back in there.
So
in the
now
mix
what
there.
we're doing is we're collecting Bitcoin for
That's
Don
right.
Bobo.
But the wallet's not up yet because there's so many possibilities, and so I was like, let me study them a little bit for security reasons. Some are easier, some are harder. Some you have to download a lot of the blockchain in order for it to work. Those of you who understand Bitcoin.
Yeah,
I
you lost,
lost
me.
you. Yeah, but that's okay. I'm going to get it up and run. See, he's going. Yep, I know exactly what that is.
I think we should just keep it simple. Just send your check for Bitcoin to our GoFund my PayPal me account. Just mail it in. I like all the stuff he's talking. That's great. I'm gonna get the little wallet with the Velcro and
Yeah.
the stitching.
Tyler,
Yeah.
give me the exchange
and the
rate
cowboy
for today, by the
imprint.
way.
Yeah, we're gonna need the exchange
It's up
rate for
there.
the
It's in-
Bitcoin.
in
He's up there already.
the
What
Velcro
are we now?
kangaroo shoes.
Wait,
$6,400.
$6,400
for
Yeah.
a Bitcoin.
So you're
Last
asking
week-
for point
Wow,
zero
it's
zero three one.
dropping.
and this
All right, so there it is. That's what we're looking for. We do 2 hours, but we're going to do a third hour. And that third hour is a subscription hour.
Yeah.
And for a mere 0.0031
Bitcoin.
Bitcoin, you too can have that subscription every week. You get that extra, and the extra hour is going to be jam-packed.
Well, because last week
Jam-packed.
we actually got Heath to agree that he would take his shirt off and catch himself on fire and run through the parking lot for one whole Bitcoin.
One whole Bitcoin.
Now, I listen. That's a lot. I think they had to exchange.
Oh
rates.
no!
$6,400.
That was it was at 10 grand back then.
Oh,
that
no,
was
now
down to
it's two
$6,500.
Two
That's
Bitcoin.
off. Yeah,
So I'm gonna need some people to kick in with me because I can't cover that whole 2 Bitcoin. But I got to see that. I think that'd be good stuff.
$13,000 gets it done.
All right. Did I mention
All
to
right.
you that the Saints had some cuts today?
I
That-
mentioned it to you, but go ahead.
Well, okay. Well, I didn't mention to the people. And then we also need to talk about the Pick'em League. Every
yes.
year we have a Pick'em
Yes.
League. We like
Yes.
getting all you guys involved.
Absolutely.
And if there's a way that we can get everybody involved, we can do it again. Matter of fact,
Yes.
in addition to that, I want to do and I'm not sure how yet. And I probably should have done some research, but you guys know that wasn't going to happen when we first started talking about this.
Yeah.
If we can figure out, maybe somebody can send us an email to our email account.
And what's that account?
It's bsandbeer@icloud.com.
Or they can actually just send you a little note via the.
Yeah. I tell you what, when we come back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about that and see if some people can give us some advice on some fantasy leagues that everybody can play in. So, hey, we're back. We're excited. 97.7 Sports Talk Radio, the BS and Beer podcast. We ready to rock and roll.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer podcast crew recording here, ready for some Saints football. Tyler Kistner on the board. Tomas Mauricio to my left. Heath Elson to my right. I'm Dave Romero, and we're here to talk wall-to-wall Saints, 2 hours worth. Listen, the first thing that we need to do is a review of well, you know, I don't know if I want to spend all the time, particularly on our last game against Cardinals, but let's kind of review training camp for all those who are like tuning in. It's the first week that the BS and Beer boys are on the radio, and there might be a lot of guys up in northern Louisiana that want to get caught up on everything. So the first thing, I think that expectations are high. I think that most everyone from the local media to the to the national media think that the Saints have a chance to contend for a Super Bowl title this year. So high expectations. The team is loaded with talent, and it has been an exciting preseason so far based on the reports. There's some young guys that were good last year, really good, maybe borderline Pro Bowl players who are now taking the next step. And there's some guys, some veterans. We brought in some guys. And quite frankly, it just looks like all the pieces of the puzzle are coming together.
Somewhat.
Okay.
Somewhat. Now, I have to say that I know, as is usual, many of us in New Orleans are expecting a Super Bowl. Okay. But you leave New Orleans, and there are plenty of people who think that Atlanta is the hot team in the NFC South. We hear a lot of people talk about, well, you know, it's the Eagles and the Rams and Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm happy. I'm happy because I want us under the radar. You know, I want, just like what happened last time. Well, you know, the Saints are 6-0. Oh, you know, the Saints are 9-0. Dang, you know, the Saints are 12-0. Right. I want to just go right underneath everybody. No big deal. Keep talking about little Tommy Brady. I'm good. You know, keep talking about the helmet rule. I'm good. You know, and let's see where we go. But you're right, Dave. With the exception of a couple of positions, we're looking awfully good. Awfully good.
Well, I think one of the things that's a little bit misleading, Heath, is that the Saints offense, when we went to the Super Bowl in 2009, in the preseason, I think we looked a lot sharper than we did. But one of the things that's really misleading is Drew Brees has yet to play a snap in preseason.
It's a different, yeah.
And so, for instance, let's just take this game against the Cardinals of just a few days ago. The Saints moved the ball with Taysom Hill, who's an inexperienced running quarterback who's still learning not only the Saints offense, but still learning how to play quarterback in the NFL. And the Saints moved the ball. They ran the ball, completed a few passes, and it actually at times looked like, man, look what's going on here, even with the backup quarterback in.
Yeah.
But then it's the big mistake.
Right.
That all of a sudden the wheels come off the wagon and all of you can't win making those types of mistakes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're exactly right. I mean, it was looking good. You know, he was moving the ball, and but man, now a couple of them, I'll say this. I mean, the first interception was a tip,
right?
And that's one of those. It's hard to say. You know, was the ball where it was supposed to have been before it got tipped? Was that his response? Blah blah blah. And then he also got blindsided from the backside and lost the ball one time.
Right.
It's hard to blame a quarterback on that when you don't even see anybody coming and he's just getting killed out there.
Right.
But I mean, he had the one time where he just literally dropped the ball.
Fumbled the ball, like bobbled it.
It's rare when a quarterback, the issue is not the passing, it's actually the handing off or the holding on to the ball.
Well,
you know?
It was very Aaron Brooks-esque.
Yeah.
It kind of brought back memories of just the silly mistakes that Aaron Brooks, and I'm not an Aaron Brooks hater. I thought Aaron Brooks was a good quarterback, and at the time, one of the better quarterbacks to ever play for the Saints. And I know that's an unpopular opinion.
He was for a time, you know.
But he would always be prone to making the dumb mistake. Just like like you said, take a hand off and you go to fake the and the ball pops up in the air, and
Yeah.
you just can't win making those kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
But now one of the things you mentioned was that that interception, and while I'm not trying to put all the blame on the quarterback, it hit our new wide receiver Cameron Meredith in the hands.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
But the
I
thing
thought
that
it-
I would say is that, man, if he would have just taken some time to look off the receiver, maybe there wouldn't have been 3 defenders there. If you notice, Ben Watson was right by him.
Yeah.
I think that was one of those situations where either someone ran the wrong route, Taysom Hill's just staring down the receivers, drawing the entire defense, and when that ball goes up in the air, there's 3 defenders there to pick it off. So
Right.
it's one of those things where, again, not trying to put all the blame on him, but having said that, you'd be surprised the subtle things that make things go from bad to worse, and some of them are just staring down the receivers, and he does a lot of it. I saw a couple of good things where he looked receivers off. He ran the ball. Man, you just see – we hear about his athleticism. There was one play where he ran for, it had to be about 30 yards, and the defender, and it was a defensive back, had the angle on him and just completely lost the angle.
Yeah,
had
he
no
outran
idea
him, yeah.
how fast Taysom Hill was. So raw ability, I'm still not ready to give up on him because he does offer something in the way of special teams. I mean, where
Yeah.
do you find a quarterback that also one of your better coverage guys on special teams?
Yeah,
So, hey,
it's rare.
that's going to give him some additional time, right? He's going to have some time to sit on the roster and continue to develop his skills as a quarterback because he offers something else on the team.
Yeah, and if he continues to hold the ball, it's gonna be exciting on potential fake situations, or even if it's just a bobbled.
But it
You know,
would be
once he
exciting.
gets up with his legs, I mean, he has the kind of ability to.
And he's a
you know-
strong guy. He's like
Yeah, yeah.
225 pounds, so it's not just fast.
Yeah.
You know, RG3, and I use him as an example because he was a athletic quarterback that ran. And the thing about it is, when he finally got caught, it was ugly. I mean, just literally the way his body just got ripped around, and boom.
Yeah.
Where Taysom Hill, he put his shoulder down a couple of times, and you're not just going to manhandle him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I go back to the 4 turnovers that happened under Hill. 2 fumbles and 2 interceptions. One was Meredith should have had that ball. There's no excuse. I don't care if it was close coverage or not. He put the ball where Meredith could have caught it.
Sure.
So that's on Meredith. The other interception, coach has said that again ran the wrong route. So, again, if you're throwing a timing pass, expecting the receiver to be someplace and then they turn out instead of in or vice versa, that's really not on the quarterback. That's on the receiver. Now, the 2 fumbles, yeah, he got hit hard on one of them, but that's still not an excuse. You have to be able to hold on to the ball. And the second fumble was just, there's no excuse for it, you know. Now, I have heard that one of the things people are saying is that he's got small hands for a quarterback. And that's a possibility. And another thing that I heard that I had to laugh about, somebody asked him about if he used suntan lotion, if he used some sunscreen protection, you know, when he's out there doing all, and he said, "Oh yeah, I put that sunscreen on." And so some people are like, well, maybe he had sunscreen on his hands, or the ball touched his arms and got some sunscreen on it. And
He's using sunscreen
So-
in a dome.
well, that's
Well,
why I
those
liked
lights-
about it,
yeah.
because it was like, really, we're inside now, we're not outside.
You know, I would think if I'm a quarterback too, and somebody and I had like all those fumbles and those things happen, and
Yeah.
like, did you have some suntan? I'm like, yeah.
my God,
Now
I
that
didn't
I
even
think
think of
about
that.
it, problem solved, coach. You don't have to worry about it next week. Give me another shot.
But
at
anyway,
it.
I just, you know, now I would say this to you. I think that overall, I thought he played. I hear a lot of people just saying, well, the experiment is over. I don't think so.
No.
I mean,
no, I don't
I
think
looked
so.
at it. He had good foundation. His feet were in the right place. As you said, when he took off, there wasn't going to be too many people going to catch him when he took off. So you have to incorporate that into his game plan. You know, if you put him in there and you say, okay, you're going to run Drew Brees' offensive game plan, well, that's not going to work. Okay, it'll work to some degree, but not really. That's not his game.
No, and
So,
it's
when-
not a lot of people's game.
Right,
It
you know?
wouldn't just be him.
Exactly. So when you see him be able to escape and give you some extra time, great, fantastic. But now, let's not get our hopes up too high, because I watched the Cleveland Browns and I watched Baker Mayfield. Okay. There's a difference between a
Well-
guy who is going to be a pro and a guy who, you know, he might be an okay second string guy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
You never know. Like, listen, you just never know what's going to happen. But I agree with you because what's funny is, you know, it's a change in whatever when you can say, man, I want to watch that Browns game, man. And I swear,
Yeah.
all
I watched
preseason,
it, and I'm telling you.
I was kind of looking forward to it.
Yeah.
And like, maybe not at first, and I heard all these different things going on, and I'm like, well, you know, and it was one of the games that the NFL Network highlighted in the first week of the preseason, and Baker Mayfield did a few things, and I'm all like, man, I'm check week 2. I was looking, when does that game come on? So hey, it's good when you have teams that historically you have no interest in watching.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden you're like a little interest in it, and golly, who doesn't feel for the Browns? Who doesn't feel for the Browns? Like, the Browns are just a team. You can't be mad at them. You can't hate them. There's just nothing there except for, man, I hope to see him do something.
Well,
you know.
you know that there's a very famous Browns fan, who's been a Browns fan all his life, and he passed away. And so they read his last will and testament, and he said, I want to make sure that for my pallbearers that we have many of these Cleveland Brown players because, I'm a big Cleveland Browns fan. So the day the funeral comes along and the pallbearers are there, and sure enough, there's a bunch of Cleveland Brown players that are there, and they're like, man, this is great. This guy's been a fan all his life and everything. We appreciate it, But we just can't figure out why he wanted us to be pallbearers. And somebody came by and said, well, he told me why. He said he wanted to be let down one more time by the Browns. There you go. That's a nice
All right,
Browns
boom, boom.
There you go.
All right, the crowd enjoyed that.
Okay,
So
yeah.
okay, well, yeah.
Not the joke I told you that I had.
No, you
but-
told me you had a joke, and I was
That's a
going to.
different
I
one.
got caught up in all the excitement,
okay. That's all right.
the
No problem.
pageantry of the
I'll
new.
save it for another time.
Yeah, I missed it. But no, you keep that joke, write it down, make sure you don't forget it. 'Cause-
No, I probably will,
Well, I mean,
but
we
okay.
do have 2 hours, so maybe an hour or
Maybe
two.
get back to it later.
Yeah, we
You
get
never
back to
know.
it. So okay, so a couple other things that I thought while.
Well, wait, hold on before you leave the quarterback thing.
Uh-huh.
I would tell you that if you thought Hill was not good, what would you consider Savage's performance?
Well, okay, I thought Savage. I didn't think he played very well. I mean,
No?
he's playing again with a ton of backups. Having said that, he didn't turn the ball over as many times as Hill did. I mean, Hill turned the ball over on almost. Listen,
Well,
I
later
didn't.
when we talk about the final 53, I might shock you with something I said.
Uh-oh,
But go
okay.
ahead.
So a little bit later,
Yeah.
when we come back after this break,
Yes.
we're going to start going over. Let's do offense first.
Okay, all right.
And we'll go over the offense, and in the second hour, we're going to go over the defense and just kind of give you an update of all these new names and all these new people. Who some are making plays, some are kind of making you think that they might be able to contribute this
Yes,
year,
yes.
and some, we may not see them. There's already been a couple of cuts.
Now,
But,
just
but
realize that I didn't put this paper
Okay,
together this
so
time.
this
This
is
is
a
78 players that he put together. Go
a
ahead.
call to action. If anybody knows a fantasy league out there where, like, as many people as you want can play. In other words, I've done fantasy leagues where it might end up that me and Tomas have the exact same starting lineup 1 or 2 weeks out of the year.
Because we always
Chances
want to
are-
pick the same Saints. But
Right,
go ahead.
but if anybody knows something like Tyler, would you say, like, was it FanDuel or
FanDuel and DraftKings.
yeah? But those can
Those
you
cost
do
money.
free leagues and stuff like that?
I'm not sure about that. I haven't ever done them.
Okay, well, I tell you what, we'll check into that if anybody knows because
They can either drop us an email or they can call.
call us on the hotline
What was that number?
701-901-1295.
There you go.
Call us after the game. Let us know your thoughts. Put you on the show. Hear what you have to say. Another thing, I'm not a big gambler, but I've been doing this my bookie thing.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
It's fun, man. I'm not a big gambler. I like to do just enough to keep me interested in a bunch of the games.
Yeah, yeah.
And
I
great
understand that was
site,
pretty good.
Great site, great place to if you just want to put down some bets. And you can put small ones, big ones, and there's
Hey,
all
you
kinds
might
of
wanna
stuff.
check that out.
Check that out. It's a cool place to throw
All right.
down some bets. Let's see. When we come back, we're going to talk offense, right?
Yes.
We had a couple of cuts today. I think it's important. Terrence West, he was a guy that some thought that he might have a chance.
Yeah.
No.
No, you didn't think he had a chance.
Yeah.
I thought he had a chance to.
I thought the receiver had more of a chance than he did, tell you the truth.
Early on, I thought he had a chance, but it started to become apparent. you know.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing. I should say that because he played for Baltimore. He was known as a bruiser. He was a guy that I don't
But he
think
went
that
from
you
being a
can
bruiser to being a plotter, and I think that's what happened.
And this is the thing is you need 3 yards to get you 3 yards. You need 4 yards to get you 3 yards. I like
Yeah,
that.
right,
But
exactly.
the thing about it is, I guess that's the best way to say it, is when we signed him, he played for the Ravens, and he was a solid ball player. He had injury concerns, and a lot of that from doing some research is because he runs the ball so aggressively that, but I'm thinking, hey, if Mark Ingram, who's suspended for the first 4 games, who's going to be the guy to step in? And
Well,
if you need
I'll
somebody
tell
to
you
run
in a while.
between
Yeah.
the tackles,
Yeah.
I thought he might be a good candidate Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it didn't work out. He got released
Later, Tater.
on Tuesday.
Yep.
And so did, what's the kid's name? Huff?
Huff, the wide
A
receiver.
wide receiver.
Josh
Do you
Huff.
think that he had a chance?
When we signed him originally, I thought, yeah. But no.
Yeah.
No.
He's done some good things, but man, it's a real numbers game at wide
Yes,
receiver, and really a lot of the positions on his team this year.
Matter of fact, one of the things that the rumor, and I shouldn't say rumor, I'm just saying the internet scuttlebutt. Maybe that's the better way to say it.
Your sources, your unknown sources, unnamed sources.
Yeah, my unknown and
Unnamed sources,
not undare.
Unqualified.
Yeah,
and-
sources. No, just reading the internet. There are people starting to momentum, and I'm not saying I agree with it, and I kind of don't. But Ted Ginn Jr., the people are starting to speculate that he might not make it. Honestly, I think it's ridiculous, but I think it's worth.
They're reading
talking
my
about
notes. You know, they're reading all my notes.
That's what it is. That's what it is. Got exposed a little
I'm
bit.
the unknown, unqualified source.
Unknown, non-existent sources
There you go.
have said no, but it's interesting to read all these different opinions, see what people are talking about. I don't see how it happens. I can't see Ted Denton, the speed. He only has 1 year left. I don't know if there's anybody. We have some good depth right now, but I don't know if there's anybody left out there that you would say, man, we have to have this guy so much that Ted Ginn Jr. doesn't get to play. So I don't know. Hey, anyway, it's the BS and Beer podcast crew. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. When we come back, we're going to be talking offense, see what's going on in camp.
Yep. Wait a second.
Oh, wait a minute.
What do you mean talent free?
Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer podcast crew. Listen, it's Heath Elson, it's Tomas Mauricio. I'm Dave Romero on the board. Tyler Kistner working the show for you. Listen, we having fun with this. You get back. We had to rein it in a little bit during the off season. We're just the podcast. We're not on the radio. You guys out of control. I had to add this.
Keep order here. Keep order, I said.
I have to use that just to keep them in line.
How
Tomas-
well did it work out
It
for
didn't.
them?
It didn't work. Oh yeah. Didn't he end up shooting himself?
No, it was the other guy.
No, that was the guy from the Titanic. I think he did, man.
Not him, though.
No.
It was the other guy, I think.
If you're feeling romantic, you go watch some Titanic. You'll find out. But I think it was him.
Don't bother.
No.
I think it was him.
It's not that romantic.
No, it's not that romantic. All right, so let's get to it. Let's do some Saints talk. We're going to review the off season, the offense in particular, and right off the bat, we talked a little bit about Drew Brees, the backup quarterback situation. Drew Brees hasn't taken a snap. You have Tom Savage, Taysom Hill, the athlete, the young guy, the raw guy. You also have J.T. Barrett, who's also a rookie. Well, I don't know. Taysom Hill's not a rookie, but he is a rookie, and he's gotten a few snaps. And I don't know. At this point, I don't know if he has a better chance.
At this point, I would say to you that Barrett has almost as many snaps total as Hill has between last year and this year.
Huh. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Because he didn't have but a few snaps with Green Bay. It wasn't like he played an extended amount of time with
No,
Green
not
Bay.
even in the preseason. I'm
Right.
sure that he's probably
he was cut at the end of preseason. That's when the Saints picked him up.
right.
So
Okay. So where we're left with right now is Tom Savage is your number 2 guy.
according to you.
And well, okay. I think according to most people, maybe not you,
I'm not most people.
but I think that right now, the other thing is saying that makes me a little nauseous, a little queasy.
No, I didn't.
But I think that maybe there might be some consideration maybe of bringing somebody in if this doesn't work.
So you're one of those guys who thinks that you should pick up Bridgewater. That's what I'm hearing from you.
I didn't say Bridgewater. I'm just saying somebody.
Somebody.
Well, I mean,
like,
you know.
like okay,
So
so
you're thinking about maybe making an offer to Tebow.
Tebow.
Tebow,
That's more.
oh,
Yeah.
man.
Well, you said
Oh,
somebody.
Lord.
I'm just, you know,
We can go up to Canada and get your boy
Get Johnny
football, Johnny
Paycheck.
Paycheck.
Yeah, well, you're not worth the paycheck.
One way or another, we get somebody.
Well, you're saying what a lot of people are saying, which is that maybe the second string quarterback isn't on the team at this point.
Yes.
That perhaps there is some other player out there.
If you're gonna cut it down to the bare nuts of it, yeah, that's
You
it.
know, there may be some other player that either we can get for a relatively cheap price or might actually even be cut that might be better than what we have. That's what you're saying. I disagree. But that's what you're saying.
Okay, just tell everybody what I'm saying, then go ahead and tell them what you're
Well, that's
saying.
the way I look at it. The only way that I can stay on top is I let everybody know what you're thinking.
Okay.
You see?
right.
And then you can just agree.
Okay, I
You
agree
agree?
with you. I agree with
See,
that's
there
what I'm
you go.
saying.
I
We
got
just
that already.
just saved ourselves a lot of time.
Yeah,
Go
that's
ahead.
right. Now, there are possibilities. And I mean, I would agree with you that there's a possibility that maybe the second string guy isn't on our team right now. I just don't think that that's the truth. And I would go a step further and say to you that although most people are saying, I've seen a number of people already with their, 2 weeks in, and I can tell you what the final roster is going to be, which I actually have right here.
Okay.
But my own version.
Top secret.
Yeah.
But there are some people who are saying that, just like you, Savage number 2, Hill number 3, and we're going to go with that. Now, I'm going to say to you that I have another one, another possibility, because we need numbers at other positions.
Okay.
I think we have some much better players at other positions that I don't think we should cut. But if we keep 3 quarterbacks, we'd have to. Now, I'm going to tell you this. From what I've seen so far, if we lose Drew Brees, ain't going to make a hell of a difference if it's either Savage or Hill.
It is just a matter of what's more fun.
That's right. And
Yeah.
to me, what's more fun is Hill. So therefore, I would say to you, don't be surprised if the Saints go with only 2 quarterbacks and it's Brees and Hill.
Programs, get your programs. Can't
Yeah.
tell the players from the coaches without a
there you go.
program.
Well,
Extra,
it's a
extra, read all about it.
I'm just giving you possibilities. That would free up one space, which then could be used for another position that we have some really good players that we don't want to,
See,
put out.
okay, I'm looking at it like this. I don't think we have a backup quarterback on the roster that okay, the whole point of having a backup quarterback is hypothetically if you need a 4-game stretch,
Yeah.
can the guy come in and win 2 games?
Okay.
I don't think we have a 2-game winner.
So
on-
you're
on
saying
this
you think
list.
that Chase Daniel could have done that last year?
No.
I'm not saying that. So
No.
thank you for putting those words. What we're gonna do is let you have the microphone. I'm just gonna email some things in. You tell me what I want to say.
I think we're saying it's been several years
Yeah.
since we could say that.
Yeah, I
agree.
mean, since
When
we-
let's
a Billy Joe, man, it had to had to be a Billy Joe. I mean, I'm not sure which one, but
when was Mark Brunell here? Was he the last guy that we had that was a
2009 when we
competent?
won the Super Bowl.
could he have won?
He was
2
the
games?
backup for the
I
Super
think
Bowl.
he could have possibly won 2 games. I think
Okay,
he's
with
the
that
last
roster,
guy that
right.
I could say.
And that's the thing you have to take into consideration too. If your roster is good as you think it is, then you should be able to win. And again, it depends on the schedule. If you have your murder's row of
Well,
playoff
yeah,
teams,
yeah.
But generally speaking, if you playing a decent, and
We
you playing
have
at
one
home
of the
and-
hardest schedules.
I
this
get
year.
it. So it's not making my point. It's just not fair to say, oh, well, he went 0-4, but you played against the
Right.
4
Yeah.
top seeds in the league.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm just saying that right now, I don't know if I would trust Tom Savage
Yes.
to win 2 out of 4 games. And I'm just going to assume that all the games we're playing are going to be against average teams that on any given day could beat us. And I don't know who that is, but, so can Tom Savage do it? I don't think so. I don't think Hill can either. And mainly because from what I saw, and I am not ready to give up on him. He just looks – he needs to shake these mistakes. The mistake-prone stuff will kill you every time. You have to be able to – my high school coach used to say, something so simple as a center snap. You got to get the center
coach had a
snap.
list, did he?
Yeah, you have to get the center snap down, man. What I
Yeah.
mean? You can't fumble the snap. You can't deep snap a ball over the punter's head. You can't make those simple mistakes.
That wasn't even the center.
No,
I mean,
that's what he'd say though. But at no
Yeah.
point do I recall the quarterback bobbling the ball and throwing the air. He just said something like, "You can't throw the ball up in the air as simple as something like that." I'm not sure.
I'm just saying to you that you're making my point for me.
Well,
If you don't think that Savage can win 1 out of 4 games, given just an average schedule, not picking the top teams,
Just you have to kind of come up with something.
you think maybe he might win 1 out of 4. Okay. I'm saying to you that Hill could win 1 out of 4.
Okay.
And so, therefore, if I'm thinking that Hill can win 1 out of 4, then I'd rather go with – I already saw Savage play with Houston. Well, the Texans. I don't know what they call themselves, right? The Texans? Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. So, it used to be the Houston Oil.
Yeah.
Okay. So, the Texans, right?
I was
So-
going to say in New Orleans, the Earlers.
The Earlers, right? Yeah. Okay. So, I've seen him play. He didn't look that good to me. Okay. And so, if you're saying, like, I know you like this. Dave
Now,
always
Savage
says,
looked pretty decent the first preseason
Yeah,
game.
yeah, that's right.
He had a couple of scoring drives. I mean, he looked competent.
yeah, competent. Yeah.
So far, I can't say
But
that
who
I've
was he
seen
playing
Hill look
against?
competent in it. Well, it doesn't matter. Hill played against a bunch. I mean, he just
I'm just saying to you that in the season itself, and we're all entitled to our opinions, You know, opinions are like, elbows. Everybody's got a couple. See, I cleaned that up. So, I'm just looking for a button to push.
Wait, hold on.
Keep order here. Keep order, I said.
It's getting off the rails.
Now,
I
let's
can
just
tell.
remember, okay?
Hand him the pistol.
We still have. I'll out to my car and get it. We still have 2 more preseason games.
Right.
Okay, so let's not put the cart before the horse. Okay, we're not like today is not cut day. Okay.
Right.
So
Well, it
it's-
was for some guys.
well for a few, yeah. Yeah. Well,
And
it should have probably been for a few more based on what I saw on the film.
Yeah.
Right.
But I'm just saying to you, when it comes to quarterback, let's be serious. The NFL today is set up to be a quarterback-driven league. But because of the money involved, it's very hard to find any team that has a competent second stringer.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, if you go down the line,
I agree with you. The exception is a team that has a quarterback that can come in and win 2 or 3 out of 4 games. That
Okay.
is the exception
now,
in a lot of
Nick
categories.
Foles, if people are going to bring that up, you might recall that he played for Philadelphia and was 9-1.
No, and that's the thing.
So that's a different story
He's the
altogether.
exception. I mean,
Yeah.
like
Okay.
the same thing with the kid in Minnesota. These are guys who have played and have had success, even though you wouldn't want them if you were going into a season. You wouldn't want them as your starting quarterback.
Right.
But if they're your backup and they had to come in, they've actually won games in the league and they've gotten hot before. They've ripped off 3 or 4 or 5 or 8. So it's those guys are the exception. If you look around and look at the rosters, teams can't field one starting quarterback, much less have a backup guy that can win too.
Yeah.
So listen,
And any of those other guys you're talking about were higher draft picks. I mean, the Saints haven't invested anything in draft
nothing.
picks, really.
outside of a 3rd rounder in
And
Grayson.
Grayson,
so.
yeah.
All right, so let's move on. We spent entirely too much time on quarterback, and obviously it's because it's the biggest deficiency. As backup quarterback, obviously.
RG3.
So let's go ahead and
Teddy
move to
Bridgewater.
running back because the next interesting thing is the fact that Mark Ingram.
Well, I
is
didn't think
gonna
that was
be
the interesting
suspended.
thing. I thought the interesting thing was that your fellow poor boy buddy
Oh,
got signed with the Washington Redskins.
my good friend
Yeah, you're
Adrian
a
Peterson,
BFF.
who I broke
po'
bread
boy.
with.
Yeah.
Well, shared.
I don't know
meaning
what
that-
else,
shared meaning I
That's a-
bought
that's a
his po'
different
boy
topic.
for him.
Yeah.
And he still ain't called me.
No,
he still
really?
ain't called me. No, man, I'm waiting
Well,
for a
now he's
phone
with the
call.
Redskins.
Yeah, so maybe he's just been waiting to get back on his feet before he calls me.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
you know,
sometimes
It's
you're
been
embarrassed.
tough, Yeah.
So, okay. So we had a cut today with Terrence West.
Yes.
Jonathan Williams looked pretty good in the preseason.
Yeah.
I mean, is he the guy?
I
Yeah.
think he is the guy. Yeah. I mean, they brought him in last year. They obviously saw something they really liked in him. And so far through training camp and what we've seen in preseason, he's living up to that,
Right.
And
He
so
looks smooth, I mean,
Hard to tackle.
I'm not expecting Mark Ingram, but Tomas, 4 games. Can he come in and make the difference? Can he keep us on pace?
Yes, I think so. I think the Saints were worried first because that's why they brought in West and Vereen and whatever else.
yeah.
But I think now, as you watch just 2 games and you watch all of the workouts,
All right, hold on to that thought. We're going to come back after the break, and we're going to talk a little bit more. We got to hit on these things other than quarterback.
See, you only see what I'm
97.7
doing
Sports
is
Talk
watching the
Radio,
deep
BS and Beer Podcast Crew. We'll be right back. Welcome back. It's the BS and Beer Podcast Crew.
Tell me when
Listen,
it's up.
having a good time talking Saints football. Hour number 1. We've already talked a little bit, not a little bit. We talked way too much about the quarterbacks. We were just starting to get into the running backs. Tomas, did you want to finish up a thought on Mark Ingram, or are you ready to talk about Shane Vereen? What about Boston Scott? Ooh, Boston Scott.
Now we're talking.
That's our new segment. We
Yeah.
got to come up with we got to get us a plug for it and all this different stuff.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna say this. Look.
That's Tomas's guy, by the way. All you guys in northern Louisiana,
Yeah.
Tomas, this isn't fake. It's not. That's his dude.
Yeah.
He is
Yeah.
excited about him.
Very, very, very much so. But I was, and again, I think this is why they brought in West and Vereen, because they weren't sure what they had. Now they're sure what they have. He's special team contributed in special teams, no problem. We found our guy for kickoff and we found our guy for punt. We've addressed a major issue on this team, with Boston Scott being one of those contributors. And I think that as time passes, he'll do much better. One of the things that Drew said about Williams was that he's very good at blocking. So that tells you right there. When Drew mentioned that in one of the interviews, that tells me that
He feels
Drew
safe.
feels that's right. That he
Right.
feels fine. Hey, put him in. I'm okay. I'm not gonna worry about getting run over.
A little pass pro, making
Yeah.
sure that what happened to Taysom Hill, you mentioned it, Heath,
Exactly.
gets
Yeah.
drilled in the
Exactly.
back, fumbles the ball
Exactly.
for his 7th fumble of the game.
So
Yeah.
again, I think that Boston Scott
check my
over
stats.
time will be able to pick up that same ability to block. Remember, it took Ingram 2 years to be able to do all the things that he's
Right.
able to do.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I think Boston Scott will be on a much shorter table. But I see really good things at running back. I think the guys that we have look good, and later I'll tell you the ones I'm saving and ones that are going.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
Well, right now, Heath, I'm gonna bring up what in the offseason I thought was I didn't care for the way the Saints handled the position. They didn't bring in. I'm sure they tried.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to talk to Coach yet. I should go ahead and text him and just ask him what the hell you were thinking. They didn't get a
Must
tight
be
end.
talking about tight end.
Yeah, we're talking about tight end.
Well-
I mean, right now, all of us are sitting here trying to figure out a way where undrafted free agents are going to be difference makers, and they're raw, they're inexperienced. One of the guys we have in Human is been injured almost the entire preseason.
Yeah.
Josh Hill's steady Eddie. He's not great, but he can contribute. After that, man, it's just a bag of guys.
Yeah. I think it came down to what was available and what it was going to cost them. And, it wasn't a good market for tight ends. We tried to get Jimmy Graham, apparently.
Right.
That didn't work out.
Thank goodness.
Yeah, you're in a stratosphere when you're talking about money. And then you had Ebron, he was highly inconsistent. He got way more money than he should have ever gotten.
Yeah. The
And
tight ends
so-
did get a lot of money.
Now if you look at Ben Watson, if you look at the numbers that he put up in Baltimore
Right.
last year, and we're talking about Baltimore and Joe Flacco, you know what I mean? So I know he's another year older, and he's getting up there, but if he can come back in and at least just do that, that's an upgrade over what we had at tight end last
okay.
year.
I don't pride myself in watching a lot of Baltimore Ravens football, but because of necessity, I had guys on their offense on my fantasy team.
Yeah.
It kind of forced you to watch the game, and it was horrid.
Yeah.
Now, the offense was just putrid. Couldn't move the ball, couldn't complete a pass. It was just Flacco.
Yeah, but
I've-
Watson had what?
No.
In spite of all
Around
that,
50
where I'm going with
catches
this.
and,
That's
and
where I'm going with
8
this.
touchdowns or
Yeah,
something like that.
That's where I'm going with this. Is
Yeah.
I'm watching Flacco, and how he ever was considered. And I get it. He won the Super Bowl, and I'm sure it's partial
Trent Dilfer
obligation.
won the Super Bowl.
And they gave him this huge contract, and the guy was never a very good quarterback. I'm not saying he's bad, but he's like a poor man's Matt Ryan, which I think Matt Ryan's a solid quarterback, but he's not great either. So I agree. The point is that if Ben Watson can hold it down for another season,
Yeah.
it'll make the position.
If
at
he
least-
can be the guy he was in Baltimore last year in this offense with Drew Brees, he is going to give us more than maybe we've had in the last 2 years at tight
Since the
end
last
with
time
the
he was here.
Saints. Yes, since the last time he was here.
And
No,
then
I agree with you.
Some young guys. Dan Arnold looks like a guy that might have a future. But he's so small.
He's got to bulk
He's
up
got to
and learn how
bulk
to
up.
block.
He's like a wide receiver that's just kind of a big wide receiver.
Yeah.
He'd get killed. Another guy is Deion Yelder.
Yeah.
And he has talent, but none of these guys are going to be
No.
able to help this year. So we're going into this thing pretty much with
Yeah, Watson.
Watson.
and I'm
Hill.
I'm thinking of Hill,
Hill.
and I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Hill, and I think Hill will be a contributor. I think he's a solid all around. He's a good blocker. He's a good pass catcher. But man, you talking about razor thin depth
Yeah.
and
Well,
nothing behind him.
And we got this kid, the kid from, where did he come from, Air Force? Or
That's my guy. I would think is
Yeah.
going to be the third guy.
he's been around for, what,
Garrett.
a couple of years? Or 3 years maybe, huh? Well, he's been around.
no,
last-
I think this is his second year.
Second?
I think he was around. Yeah, last year was his rookie year.
Yeah.
And because they weren't sure he was going to be able to play because of his commitment to the Air Force, but he
Yeah.
worked everything out. And so this will be his second year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And I really believe that he is a guy that will contribute more than the rest of them. Yelder, a lot of talk about him and so forth, but he's a long way away
Right.
from being there. They did pick up Phillips again, who they had last year, who's a veteran,
Yeah,
but he's
he-
not going to really give you anything.
He'll be on the other end of the line if we need him.
Human, the injury's finally caught up with Human. I just don't think he's going to contribute. So, yeah, we're thin, but I really think that between Watson stepping up to play what he did before and Hill being there, and that experience that Watson's going to pass on to Hill and to this kid Garrett, I think will be okay. Arnold I see as a developmental guy, and so I see him on the practice squad. And maybe next year, if he gains 20 pounds of muscles, and make sure he eats 3 bowls of gumbo every day.
Right. Yeah, well, he's in the right city to do it.
Yeah.
All right. So moving along, one of the names I think people are going to want to look out for, Traquan Smith.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
He's 3rd-round draft pick. The kid, all we hearing about him. I mean, I want to compare him not physically, but the buzz. Similar to Michael Thomas when he came out his rookie year. Like, man, that 2nd-round draft pick, Michael Thomas, he's catching everything, and he's making plays, and he's strong, and he's well. Traquan Smith has come out in practice, and he's not really the same type of receiver. He's more of a deep guy, but he's also an intermediate guy. He's a guy that can be a little bit of both. He's not a Ted Ginn who's really you just want to keep him on the outside. He can run the entire route tree, and he has the body to do it. The guy can potentially develop into a real asset for this offense.
Yeah. I mean, I remember it was one of the draft gurus during the draft. It was already calling him one of the, steal of the draft.
I remember
there were a lot
too.
of people that thought he would, thought he was better and would have gone higher. And, look, it's certainly not going to help or hurt for him to be in camp with Michael Thomas, who has almost as ridiculous a work ethic, what we're hearing, as Drew Brees does. I mean, he is.
And he's another guy who's going to take another step. Tomas, who else in the wide receiver core do you look to be either someone who's going to probably make a difference or someone who's probably going to fade out and maybe we won't hear from him?
Okay, I'll give you one of each one.
Okay.
I have a concern for Cameron Meredith.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
Now, I'm going to tell you what my concern is. So far, I haven't seen anything from him that makes me think that he's the number 2 receiver. At this point, if I had to say who was the number 2 receiver, it'd be Traquan Smith.
Right.
I put Michael Thomas at 1 and Smith at 2 as far as ranking my receiver. Now, according to what I see, I'm trying to find there's a guy who I think has made a lot of progress during the training camp, and I think he's caught a lot of people's attention. That's Kirkwood.
Right.
Now, I
Keith
think
Kirkwood.
we keep Ginn simply as a mentor. If he only has one more year in his contract, we could possibly keep him, and he could mentor someone like Traquan Smith.
Right.
You see? But I have a problem with Meredith because that ball hit him square in the hands.
Right.
And you can tell me you're rusty and everything, but you've been playing pitch and catch on the sidelines, even if you haven't been running everything full blast.
Right, I get it, and I'm not ready to cut the guy off because
me either, but I'm just saying
But
to
it
you.
is a little, believe me, when I looked the number up because I didn't realize who it was, I did do, oh, man, not him.
Yeah.
But he's been injured. He's slowly coming back. He started on the
So
active
might
roster.
he be one of those players?
Might be. Hey, it's 97.7 Sports Talk Radio. When we come back in hour 2, we can talk more Saints football. Don't go anywhere.